Hello and welcome to another episode of Iron Maiden-A-Thon. Last time was Power Slave. This time we're talking about, let me get all this crap out of the way here. We're talking about Somewhere in Time, the 1986 album that was a pretty vast departure from their normal sound here. First, I'll just show you some of the goodies I've got from Somewhere in Time. Of course, I've got this sweatshirt, this wonderful bright yellow sweatshirt from Iron Maiden's website. Got the Somewhere in Time t-shirt underneath. I have actually another Somewhere in Time t-shirt that is one of my oldest t-shirts. We've got from Super 7, we've got the Iron Maiden action figure in the classic packaging. This is the album art version of Eddie. And then we've got the single album art for Stranger in a Strange Land, Eddie. This is my favorite version of Eddie, by the way. I'll show you the back for that. Okay. And then we have a copy of the album on cassette, which is really cool. And here we go. Oh, it's pretty dusty. I had to dust that off. And then we've got a bootleg vinyl of an Iron Maiden show from the Somewhere on Tour that I got this when I went to go visit a girlfriend in London when she was there. It's an okay bootleg. This image on the inside is really bad. This is not from 1986. This is from the Somewhere Back in Time World Tour. But yeah, this is a really cool bootleg. It says it's a limited edition, 221 of 300 on green vinyl. I've never actually listened to it because I don't have a vinyl player. But if I ever get the chance to listen to this one, I want to see if it actually plays because I didn't pay very much for it. But it was a nice little keepsake to get. So yeah, that's a cool thing to have. But we're really here to talk about the studio version, and I might as well show you the inside of the cassette too. Why not? Because that, for the kids out there, this is what a cassette tape looks like. You had to rewind them. I might not be that old, but I'm old enough to remember when people used cassette tapes still. And you don't get shit like this with anything these days. Got the song lyrics, some cool, some images, some cool different stuff here with the album. You don't get that stuff these days. Cassette tapes are cool. I love analog stuff. Okie dokie, let me just get this vinyl out of the way here as well so we don't knock it down. But we're here really to talk about the album Somewhere in Time. And it was released on September 29th, 1986. It was recorded in two different places. So you had Compass Point in the Bahamas for the drums and the bass guitar, and then it was recorded in the Netherlands for the vocals and the lead guitars. The band was wanted a 6-month break from the World Slavery Tour. Normally before this they would release the album, tour, have, I don't know, maybe like a month, and then go back into the tank to record a new album and then go on tour again. But the World Slavery Tour lasted almost 2 years, so they really wanted a break. They wanted 6 months. They got 4 months instead. So in that time period, in the 4 months, Steve Harris, Adrian Smith, and Dave Murray started messing around with different guitar techniques and guitar things, and they landed on synthesizers for their guitars. So this is the only Iron Maiden album to have the synthesizers for the guitars. The next album, they dropped the synths and used them on keyboards instead. So this one is a pretty standout album in their history, in their discography because of that. It doesn't sound... it sounds completely different than any other Iron Maiden album that you're going to get. And spoiler alert, that's why I love it. So it's not exactly a concept album, but there are strings and little hidden things that you can discern throughout the album that might make it seem like some of the songs interconnect. There's a general theme of time and space and the future and all of that on the album, but they don't connect like the next album would. The cover art was done by Derek Riggs, and it has the most Easter eggs of any Iron Maiden album art you can think of. So if I can get it out of the goddamn sleeve here, I will show you. I wish I had this. I could find my vinyl for this. I have it somewhere in a box, so I could show you the big-ass picture of it. Actually, let's put up just a big high-res scan of the album art right here for you to see it, so you can see it better than me just showing you here, but I'm going to show it to you anyway because we're looking at the booklet. But yeah, there's the full album art. You can see the Power Slave pyramid in the back there. There's the band holding Eddie's brain. There's Eddie in a very reminiscent position of the Killers album. There's the poster. It says Eddie lives. There's somebody that Eddie fucking blasted. And then everywhere else around here, there are various Easter eggs about Iron Maiden or whatever they wanted to include. So the clock is set at 2 minutes to midnight. There's Icarus. The Rainbow Room is right here. There's a TARDIS right here from Doctor Who. So yeah, if you ever get the chance, go through and look for all the Easter eggs here. There's the Bradbury Towers for Ray Bradbury. There's the Ancient Mariner Seafood Restaurant. Herbert Ales, because somebody didn't want them, Herbert didn't want them to use their song. Frank Herbert didn't want them to use their stuff, the name Dune, so they put that in there. There's the Phantom Opera House. There's a bunch of them. There's the Live After Death marquee down here. There's the Ruskin Arms, which is the first place that they played. But this, I could go on because I know a lot of them on here. There's the Aces High Bar. I'll stop now. But there's so many of them that you can go through. So let's go through the little booklet here, and you can see them on their cool, those ATVs. Yeah. So the band stayed the same for this this release. No changes to the lineup. It has one of my favorite versions of Eddie in the Stranger in a Strange Land single album art cover here. And also the Miami Vice Eddie. I love Miami Vice, so that was cool. I had that on a t-shirt. I had to get the t-shirt fixed or tailored because I ripped a hole in the sleeve. But yeah, that shirt, the original version, is worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars. That would be something I would look forward to eventually getting. Here's all the songs there and all the pictures. It's a lot different of a booklet than the normal ones that you get from Iron Maiden. But yeah, very spacey. There's the pictures from the Somewhere On tour, which is one of the only Iron Maiden albums to not have a coinciding live album or live recording, which is a disappointment for me because I love all the songs on this album, and they don't really play any of them live anymore. They play a couple, but as you can see, it's very Blade Runner inspired here. And we'll show you the, my CD case is broken, so we'll show you the CD there. Eddie looking awesome. And just another one of the Cyborg Eddie in space. So yeah, that's it for the booklet and all that. We got through that pretty quickly. So I guess we can just get to some more of the trivia, I guess you could see on this one. Bruce Dickinson wanted to do more with this album. He wanted to make their Led Zeppelin 4 or their Physical Graffiti, which are both by Led Zeppelin, obviously. And he had some weird contributions that he put in for songs, so like some like acoustic-y kind of sounding stuff, and the band just declined all of his contributions, so someone else had to pick up the slack, which was Adrian Smith, who wrote a couple songs on here, including the 2 singles, Wasted Years and Stranger in a Strange Land. He wrote those by himself. So yeah, the album, it has the guitar synthesizers, so it's a little different than normal. It's not one that, if you're getting into Iron Maiden, you'll be kind of weirded out if you hear it before everything else, or if you hear it right after listening to Number of the Beast or whatever. It sounds very different. It's a radically different sounding album, but we'll go through the track listing. So we've got Caught Somewhere in Time by Steve Harris, Wasted Years by Adrian Smith, Sea of Madness by Adrian Smith, Heaven Can Wait by Steve Harris, Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner by Steve Harris, Stranger in a Strange Land, Adrian Smith, Deja Vu, Dave Murray and Steve Harris, and then Alexander the Great, Steve Harris rounding it out. They've never played that one live, and it's very disappointing. So the tour for this one was obviously called the Somewhere On Tour. It lasted for about almost a year, and they went all around the world for Europe, the US, and ended in Japan. And so, like I said before, they haven't played many songs from this album on the tours following. The only songs that have escaped are Heaven Can Wait and Wasted Years, and then for a small portion of the Ed Hunter tour, where Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith came back, they played Stranger in a Strange Land for a couple days and then dropped it unceremoniously. So, outside of my disappointment of not hearing a lot of these songs off this album live, let's go through the track by track look, and we'll start off with Caught Somewhere in Time by Steve Harris. It runs about 7 minutes long, and this album, the tour, they opened with this song. It's a pretty good, catchy opener. It's 7 minutes, which is pretty weird for an Iron Maiden opener, but you can tell right off the bat that you're getting something different with this album, with this song. And they opened the tour with the end credits theme from Blade Runner into this song. And so you can just tell that you're in sort of a whole new world of Iron Maiden when you can go back and listen to this track, and you start with this track. This album was one that I didn't get to, as you can see, because I don't have the slipcover for the remaster here. This album was not one that I got to immediately in my love of Iron Maiden. Obviously, I had those CDs that I bought first, and then this one came later. I remember getting this one for Christmas and asking for it and putting it on my iPod, whatever, immediately. And I didn't listen to it right away because I don't know what it was. Maybe something about the synths turned me off when I tried listening to it. But then I was at my aunt's house, and I was vacuuming because at my aunt's house, if you stayed over, you had to do chores and you had to help clean up the house because it was, huge house. And so I was vacuuming while listening to this album, and that was the first time I heard all these songs, and it was just like that, just immediately like, oh wow, this album is fantastic. What the hell? And so you start off with this song, and it's about getting time travel and all of that. A lot of the songs on this album have that sort of woven in through about either time and space, and what that can do to the human psyche or the human effect. And so, Caught Somewhere in Time, it works as an album opener. It's not one of their best, but it goes into that very, very good category that's just underneath the classic songs that you would think of. So, there's the perfect songs, and then there's the A-minuses, and this goes right into that A- category. The next song is a song that I'm sure a lot of you have heard. It is outside of the Number of the Beast songs or the Trooper, it is a very popular song. Sometimes they play this on the radio, if you're in LA and you're on KLOS, sometimes they'll play Wasted Years. So Wasted Years is a great song about not worrying about the past and thinking of yourself in the present and how the present day is the best time, and you're not worrying about those wasted years, or as Bruce Dickinson puts it, worrying about those wasted Trooper beers. This song is written only by Adrian Smith. It's another song where you can tell, oh wow, this is something completely different than what Iron Maiden's going to have. It's the most single sounding Iron Maiden song on the album, so you can imagine why they would have this as the lead single. If you ever get the chance to listen to Bruce Dickinson's isolated vocals on this song, do it please, because it's magic how he belts this song out. They're impressive songs like Hallowed Be Thy Name and Number of the Beast to Scream, but this might be the single most impressive vocal track that Bruce Dickinson has laid down in this band. It is outstanding. You should go listen to it. Go do it right after you get done listening to this video or watching this video. Wasted Years, it's one of the songs that has lived on from this album on tours. They played it as the closer for the Book of Souls World Tour. They played it on the Summer Back in Time World Tour. They've played it intravenously since this album came out. Blaze Bayley famously says that they wouldn't let him play this song, and he really wanted to. He plays it as at his shows now. I think I've seen him play acoustic. It's pretty good if you want to listen to it and you like Blaze Bayley. But this is just a really good song. It's a really positive sounding song. There's a lot of songs on this record, because I love this record, that I've stuck with myself and that have a very deep meaning for me, and Wasted Years is definitely one of them. And if there's anyone out there that I would suggest listening to this song when they have times of doubt about their future or the present, and they think of mistakes they've made in the past. And this is a great song to get people out of that mindset. The next song is Sea of Madness, and it's one of the harder, faster driving songs on the album. It still has the synths, and it still sounds very different, but it also just sort of reminds you of that classic Iron Maiden sound and that classic Iron Maiden style. It doesn't really have any like high themes or concepts. It just kind of kicks ass, and so it's the number 3 song on, and it comes right after Wasted Years, and you get out of it and you get right into that guitar riff. That's one of my favorites that Iron Maiden's done. Like Caught Somewhere in Time, it doesn't get to that tippy top like where Wasted Years gets slotted in, but it goes to that A- territory. This is one of the songs I really like it on my version. It's really loud, especially the opening guitar riff, so you can always tell if I want to blow out the speakers in my car or whatever, and I have it on shuffle. But yeah, this is there's not much I can say about this one. It's an Adrian Smith song, but it's really good. Listen to it. It kicks ass. I don't know. What more do you want from me? Heaven Can Wait is the next song, and this song has saved my life. And I mean that by if you've ever been in a position mentally, emotionally, or whatever, where you are sort of compromised and you are depressed, basically, this song has gotten me out of a lot of places like that in my own head. And so this song is, obviously Steve Harris wrote it. It is incredibly inspirational. It is incredibly upbeat. It is incredibly powerful, especially the section in the middle with the vocals. The oh, oh, you just heard me sing. Thank you. But that part, especially live, whenever they play it, they bring out the Iron Maiden fan club, and everybody's jumping up and down, and Yannick Hers is going fucking nuts. And it's a song about a near-death experience and seeing all that comes with that and what that may be, you know, going to heaven or hell, or seeing, you know, the afterlife or whatever, but being drugged back from that, back to our world and staying in our world. And it's a very powerful song in that way, where you learn that no matter what happens, it is better to be in our world, in this world with everybody. And so if you're ever, you know, down and out or whatever, just pop this song on. The chorus is really catchy. The whole song is 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes long, but it doesn't feel like that. It's got a lot of like tone changes. It's got a lot of tempo changes, and it just, the solos on it are blistering and great. And it's one of the best uses of the synths on the album. This song might not make your perfect Iron Maiden list, but it definitely makes mine. This song is completely perfect, 10 out of 10. Goes on every single playlist I make, no matter what. So yeah, that's Heaven Can Wait. The next song is The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner, and I have to say that this is probably the weakest song on the album, but it's one of the songs that sort of adds to the idea that this is in fact a concept album, even though Steve Harris said no, it's not. This song, and it sort of adds into the idea because it fits in with the themes of it is called The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner, so you can imagine it might be about a marathon runner, but it could also, you know, Blade Runner. There's a lot you can just, you know, take a shot at here with your tinfoil hats on about Iron Maiden, but for it being the quote unquote weakest song on the album, you know, it's a B+ or whatever, maybe an A- even. All these songs that are A- go really close together. They're really grouped together in their greatness. And so this one has a sick-ass solo. It is really great Bruce Dickinson vocal performance. Every song on this album, he just belts the shit out of it. And it's crazy because they didn't want his contributions, but, you know, he wasn't a shithead about it. And, you know, he sung the crap out of all of these songs, including this one. The next song is Stranger in a Strange Land, and it's the second single off the album. It's where the Stranger, the Cowboy Eddie, or futuristic Cowboy Eddie art comes from, that single album art. That is my favorite t-shirt I own. I didn't bring it out here with me, but it's my favorite Iron Maiden t-shirt that I own. It is the one that I wear if I need an extra confidence boost or feeling a little bit lucky. This song is the only song on the album without the synths. It is also the only Iron Maiden song to fade out. So other songs just end, but this song fades out into the distance. And so this one is a very powerful song. This is another one of those songs that you listen to and you immediately go, wow, I feel what this song is about. And so the original song is about an explorer that gets stuck in the ice and frozen. It's sort of like Captain America in that way. A little less superhero-y, though. And then gets awoken in the future, and it's a stranger in a strange land. It's somebody who's from the past that's in the future now. So it fits into the album's theme like that. It has... I think it's my favorite Iron Maiden solo, but there's a lot of really great Iron Maiden solos like Dance of Death or Power Slave or Hallowed Be Thy Name has a great one. But I think this might be my favorite, and this is a very... I would assume it's a personal song for Adrian Smith because it was on the Ed Hunter tour for the first couple dates, and then he had to leave because his father passed away, and then it was cut from the set after that. So I have a feeling that it's a very personal song for Adrian Smith. He said in interviews that he would love to play the song again, but it doesn't really fit into their tempo of their set lists. But I'm just going to say, please God, Iron Maiden, put this song back in your set lists. I would love to hear it live. I would love to hear any of the songs from this album live. But Stranger in a Strange Land, great Iron Maiden song, underrated as hell. Deja Vu is the next song, and it is the only song on the album written by Dave Murray, and it is co-written by Steve Harris. It goes along with Loneliness of a Long Distance Runner as being the two sort of weakest songs on the album. It's obviously about the phenomenon known as deja vu, where you see something and you go, well, where have I seen that before? It's not possible that I could have seen this before, felt this situation before. It fits very well into the theme of this album, and that's an overriding feeling, is that all of these songs have this overarching theme, but it's not necessarily a concept or a full story, but it makes good use of the synths. All of the songs that use the synths on this album are fantastic. It's kind of disappointing that they didn't bring them back, but obviously the next album is a masterpiece anyway, so it didn't really take away from the next album, but it added a lot to this one, and it made it so that Power Slave might be the peak of the Iron Maiden of old. This is where they went, and this could be their Physical Graffiti or their Led Zeppelin 4, and the guitar synthesizers and all of the themes of this album actually did that. So Bruce Dickinson got what he wanted, but without what he wanted. Finally, we have one more epic song to close out an Iron Maiden record. It's historical based. It is Alexander the Great. It sort of has some silly lyrics to it. It doesn't super fit into the theme of the album, but it is quite possibly, and I know there's going to be a lot of Iron Maiden fans out there, this song's not underrated, everybody loves this song. Yeah, you know what? Guess what? Fuck you. It's my video. You're watching it. This is the most underrated Iron Maiden song out there. They have never played it live. The vocals would be extraordinarily difficult to sing because you're singing a history textbook, basically. But god damn it, every time there's an Iron Maiden concert tour, and on the website setlist.fm, some joker is going to put this on there for a fake set list, and it's going to scare the shit out of everybody. But it's just that good. It has so many different tempo changes. It is so progressive. It is so heavy. It is so awesome. And it's just, you listen to Rime of the Ancient Mariner and you learn about the goddamn poem. And you listen to this song and you immediately know everything about Alexander the Great. It is just the perfect way to close out this album. It's so crazy. I could not think of a better song to close out this album than this one. The track list for this album is perfection. Every song has its place. This song, the most... It is one of my favorite Iron Maiden songs. It starts off so slow, but then ramps up immediately, and it's just so good. If you haven't heard it in a long time, please go listen to it. Pause the video. I don't care. Go listen to Alexander the Great. And you can laugh along with me about some of the lyrics, but it's just that great, that perfect of a song. So that's it for the track-by-track listing. I guess for the next up, they went on the Somewhere On tour for almost a year, and then they all came back with a renewed vigor. Bruce Dickinson on the next album had quite a few contributions, and that album was Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, which is based on the Orson Scott Card novel Seventh Son. That is a concept album. It is based on that story, but we'll get to that in the next video. For now, we're Somewhere in Time might not be your favorite Iron Maiden album. It might not be their best album. It might not be their most popular album, but it is my favorite Iron Maiden album, and is, in my opinion, their greatest album that they've ever recorded. It is their greatest accomplishment. It is the biggest risk that they took. This was one of the most expensive albums that they've ever made, and the risk paid off huge. Now, they don't play a lot of the songs from it live, which is disappointing, but this album, front to back, cover to cover, is perfection incarnate. It is my favorite Iron Maiden album. It is the most stuff, anything that I can get of Cyborg Eddie. There's a figure out there that's like $150, $200, and it's of Cyborg Eddie. It's from NECA. It's just, I want it. This album is perfection through and through. It is just the best thing that they've ever made. And that might get some flack. I don't care. This is my favorite Iron Maiden album. It has the best album art. It has the best version of Eddie. There's a lot, like, okay, Number of the Beast, you have some songs that are kind of eh. Peace of Mind, it was really good. Power Slave, there are some songs that are kind of eh. This song, every single song on this album is either, at the very least, of, like, a 90 out of 10, or 90 out of 10, 90 out of 100 to perfection, 100 out of 100. It is the best album that they've ever recorded, and I love it. It's saved my life plenty of times. It's gotten me through plenty of things, gotten me through plenty of road trips and all of that. So it's disappointing that they don't play a lot of songs from it, but what can you do? So that'll be it from Eddie and I to you. Like I said, the next one is Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, so be prepared for that one. That video will be just as long as this one. I love that album too. So yeah, from Eddie and I to you, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share it, do whatever you want. But thank you for watching, and I will see you again at some point.